Hello, hello, beautiful people. We're going live on multiple spaces. I love that. And we're like having conversations on TikTok and Instagram and on Facebook. How are you feeling, Flea? We're both in green today, too.
Yes. Green, definitely the colour of today, all around heart-centered love and passions, which, funnily enough, my lovely confidence book, actually, the page I opened up to is Mind What You Wear, because this is one of the first steps in feeling confident. If you actually feel comfortable in what you're wearing, then you generally just reflect that to others. And really, when we're in our element, when we feel good in ourselves, it is a vibration that does attract people. And we are visual
Mm,
creatures that like to, look and visually perceive. This is how we identify our tribe, the people of interest. So it's really great to just be yourself. And I love dressing up. So even though it's only 8 o'clock in the morning here, I am in my lovely satin pants and my
oh,
flowy
I
shirt, and I'm
love
just ready for my day. Beautiful.
oh,
What about
you
you?
inspire me. Every time I see you, you always just look beautiful. And I know it's part of your process of just feeling good in your body that I love. And then it inspires me sometimes, like, I just maybe need to put a little bit more effort in today. And some days I do, and some days I'm just showing up as me with my tied bags under my eyes and in my mum mode. And that's still me, which is radiant and beautiful as I am. But yeah, today I was like, I'm going to wear the greens today. And beautiful Aya, I've got a little floral dress for her to say yes to a dress these days for a 9-year-old who likes to be active and do handstands. Was it like, okay, cool. She's still got the little girl in her. But talking about what you wear and how you feel, we had this amazing entrepreneur business owner come into the gallery yesterday after like Flea was there in the morning just chilling out and we're talking. It was really lovely. And he came in with this like pink suit and multimillionaire. I'm not going to say his name, but he is the developer of the area. So he really invested in creating culture, creating connection with the residents, and creating beautiful spaces for people to connect because they're invested in this vision that his father, billionaire Mal Hassan Sambi, created probably, I think it was like 30 years ago or something. Big celebration of grand designing a city. But he came in and he just like had this swagger, this pink suit, vibrant, these red shoes, and he was so lovely and just personable. And I was listening into one of his stories about previously when he was overweight, and he shared this story before. But he made a promise to himself to stick to a regime. He walks every day, but also like to buy really cool suits. Really cool suits. We've got another friend who wears really cool velvet suits all the time. I love it. And yeah, dressing to feel good is not only this piece around how you value yourself in balance with the other parts and facets of who you are. But then, like Flea said, it's this piece that people, make this impression with you. And this piece around judgments that we've been talking about, the stories behind the story. It is true. We got to embrace the fact that people do judge you when they make a first impression. The first 7 seconds count of how people experience you or the words that you say. And so, this piece around the looks and the what feels like superficial is actually not. It's like how do we meet ourselves in the best version of who we are in putting on makeup, doing our hair, wearing a pretty dress, really taking care with your words and listening to people in situations, how they feel you, receive you. I think it's all part of this piece of how we experience ourselves and then how others experience us. What do you think about that, Flea?
Oh, I should unmute. I was doing that because Facebook likes to come on very live. So when I clicked on that, I'm like, I'm not on this one and I'm not that one, and it's going to make a big noise. So yeah, the card I held up was the power card, and
Mm,
I'm a lion, so I love this. I love this card. I'm a Leo and I'm fiery, and pretty much everything about a Leo is our image. You think of the mane of hair and the pride that happens from the leader or the dominance of the lion. And really, like, a lot of the negative is something I experienced. I remember a few years ago somebody commented, "Oh, you're so fake, and your nails are fake, and your hair is fake, and all of this stuff is fake, and how can anyone take you seriously? You should be embarrassed." And I was like, how am I being fake? Yes, I do color my hair. Yes, I do get my nails done. But what part of, like, those applications may be fake, but it doesn't make me fake. And it really just enhances my confidence, because, like, I'm a natural brunette, but I'm going grey. And for the last probably 18 years, I've been dyeing my hair blonde. And I had a disastrous event where my toner actually made my hair purple and it would not wash out. So I was like, I like the purple. It's really cool. It's really funky, but it wasn't me. I found that I could wear my clothes, and, it really brought me down. So then I had to go back to the brunette to try and tone it down and to cover the purple. And I liked it, but I didn't feel myself. And it was not kind of adjusted and went back blonde. It's like, no, this feels like me. And
Yeah.
it feels real. And even though it's a fake color, it's my expression, and it very much is tied in with how I look, because people do judge our appearance. They do look at us and go, oh, she might be a snob, or, oh, she's up herself. And I get that. If you like that, and, that's how you see me, that's fine. I would ask you to reflect on why you feel the need to judge other people, and what part of yourself isn't being actually truthful. And a lot of the cards that came out today were negative ones. It's like looking at the shadow, looking at the temptations, looking at the conflict of suffering in silence. Like, when we're not true to ourselves, when we don't honor that part of our heart, really. And I picked green for a reason. Everything is for a reason. I didn't actually select it because I wanted to wear, like, because I was thinking of that. I selected it because it's like, I just really feel like that would be what lights me up. And I put the green around my eyes before I even picked my clothing. So this idea of in our power, we tap into that frequency and that energy. And for me, most of mine is just passion. Like, I have an amplitude of possibility that is just contained within my body. And a lot of the times I've allowed people to, oh no, that's silly. That's not realistic. That's too childish, or whatever. And then I see it reflected in other people. And it's like, well, why was it childish for me when, here we have a millionaire going around in a pink suit? Like, that to me is phenomenal. It's like, yes, express you. Yes, be all you can be. And what a way to stand out. Like, hell yeah. And really, it's like, well, why not? If, part of your confidence starts feeling your best, then do it. Like, if you love bling and, today you just want to go out in, a formal dress, do it. Like, really, the only person that is really judging you is you, and holding you back. And when we tap into that power of not giving a damn what other people think, because really they don't have the confidence to do it themselves. And I'll go back to that person and that comment. She had blonde hair. She had fake nails. She wore more makeup than I did. Okay, like, a little bit hypocritical, don't you think? Now,
It's a trigger, right? It's a trigger.
it absolutely was. Turned out her husband was liking my pictures on, Instagram and so on, and I didn't even know this. So, there was a deeper story behind it, but I allowed her to get into my mindset, and to then kind of dim my light a little bit and start to be me. And that kills you. It really does. It just sets you into this mindset of just repetitive, oh, I can't be like this because people won't like me. Oh, I can't do this. Now it's very much, the awareness has brought me into, I'm going to own me. And if you don't like it, you're not my person. And move on.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly.
I'm all that and more.
Yeah, totally. And then you attract the people that see that light within you, that see the fire within you, and they become your tribe. They become your soul family. They become, that saying that is like the 5 closest people that you surround yourself is the people that who you become. And so I think about my inner five of people and how they support me. So Flea, Sean, Hui, some of my other close friends, and the groundedness of how they anchor and reflect parts of me that allow me to go deeper into myself so that I can shine and be brave and bold and step into that fire energy. Like, I'm an earth sign, I'm a Virgo, but and we were talking about animals before we went on, like power animals and that power with the lion. And I have a lion as one of my power animals. And so, meeting him, being the leader, and when we look at animal symbolism, like there's meaning all around us. And whether you choose to dive deeper into it and see how it resonates with you, that's up to you. But I found that when I started that journey within to set those foundations, there was a whole other heap of wisdom, really shamanic wisdom from even my lineage pieces and more that sat through. And so that fire energy really allowed me to kind of step into being courageous, into my leadership, to, we've interviewed, I think, 4 millionairesses and had another, millionaire walk in. And these are the people that, I get to surround myself with now. But it was the asking, saying, hey, can I have a conversation with you? Or, hey, do you want to come over and check this out? And most of the times I've said yes. But if I didn't have the courage to ask, or if I didn't have the courage, to do those baby steps that we were talking about yesterday, then, it wouldn't have given me the courage to just speak so boldly, be curious as to what they're doing. And we're bringing in that millionaire mindset, embodying it, surrounding ourselves with people that are doing that. And when you start to surround yourself with like-minded people or people that you're inspired by, it's so interesting to see how your world and your relationship with people start to shift. And those judgments that Flea was talking about, you will always get the trolls. You will always get the people that will say negative things. And, people that I know who are multi-six-figure, who are making their way out, who are game changers, who want to change the world and what they do, what they're creating, they have to deal with these negative things. And it's that mindset, like, what a compliment. What a compliment that woman was so triggered by your beauty, your essence, that it made that response. And so our triggers, which are part of the foundations and recognizing that, are some of the best parts of ourselves that allow transformation to occur. And the shadow parts of ourselves, when we embrace it and learn to alchemize, speak into it, notice it in others, and notice with that deeper question, well, how is this me? And we did speak about this, I think, on day 1 or day 2. How is that me? What is it within them that is being reflected? Yeah, like the mirror, what is that? And if you go in and it's like, oh, well, maybe my partner is expressing this anger because they don't feel like they've been allowed to express that anger, rage, or they're not being heard. And when do I feel like that? Maybe this little moment of explosion from my daughter or from my husband, or from an experience with maybe a stranger, is that little reminder of like, okay, maybe I can go in and go, well, I didn't allow this for me to be felt. How beautiful that it gets to be expressed back to me. Obviously with safety and boundaries. And maybe there's something in that moment that I can take away. And this is the deeper thinking and reflection that in such a busy society we forget about sometimes. And I was talking about the micro moments, I think, in day 2. These micro moments matter. And they're actually really macro on the internal landscape of your heart. And Flea was speaking about this heart space. I encourage you to go back. We're not doing 10 days in a row. It has been a beautiful challenge. And it's been beautiful for us to kind of get back into flow. And it's been great for the algorithm. Facebook is liking that we're being active. And, we're just going to let it sit out and trust that whatever we have decided to do together in this challenge, to share our stories, to share the foundational pieces, trusting that it's going to land and we're going to get to receive it in the best way possible. Maybe through this platform, it may be through other people in other ways that we didn't even think about. As you got to release the how. That's the whole thing this week. Release how you're going to manifest or get the things, but you got to do the inner work. I think you're muted again, Flea.
I am too. I love that. Doing too many things at once. I'm muted. That's okay. So the temptation card or the devil card that I drew this morning, this is something that, and for those on the different modes, I just use tarot cards or oracle cards as a guidance for what I really want to say and feel. And a lot of this was like, it doesn't trigger hostility and some of the negative aspects that's kind of come about. And really, it's a reflection of ourselves. And deep down inside, like, we all have our own modes of communication and of seeing things in a way that potentially won't be felt and heard by other people, and that's okay. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating, really, being in this energy of, how am I being judged? How am I being perceived? And being able to go, well, can I alter this language? Can I change it where it's going to be felt more? And really, a lot of what you were saying there is very spiritual in a sense, and that doesn't get received very well by a lot of people, because if you don't know and you don't understand, this kind of barrier or wall steps in and goes, oh, hang on a sec, oh no, that's just woo-woo stuff, or it's another one of those that are selling something, and this whole hippy dippy, like I've gotten that quite a fair bit, that for whatever reason, if I use tarot cards or oracle cards, or I wear my crystals or something like that, oh, you're just a hippie, which means I don't wash and I don't shave my armpits, and all of the taboo little things that are totally crazy.
Very stereotypical.
And it's like, it is, and it's like, why is it to be spiritual? You have to then misalign with what is material. Like, and funnily enough, we didn't get the foundation card out today, and the structure of that was the material and the intuitive. Like, when we're sitting in, okay, this feels right for me and it's something I need to feel connected with people that can dive deeper. Because when we dive deeper, and I'm very much into, like, a lot of this is quite shallow to what actually goes on inside of my brain, and it like lights me up in my passion, because I'm very much into the quantum field. I love the science. I love the mathematics. I like being able to touch on every aspect of humanity and be able to go, okay, well, it's all the same thing. If you want to go into religion, if you want to go into, doctorates, into the arts, everything is an expression of who we are and why we're here. Like, why do we need to connect with people? If we didn't, we would go crazy. And in this idea of, we have to connect, we have to match people in energy, sometimes we also need to bring that back to, okay, well, where was I before this? I was very much like, I rejected all of this from very young, though I'd had a lot of otherworldly experiences. I'd had a lot of deep and meaningful connections to the other side that nobody believed. And it was like, okay, I've spoken about my abuse, and I remember telling my grandfather at the time, it's like, he'd come out and there was a painting on the wall, and every time he'd done something that was bad, that painting would be tilted. And I was like, oh no, okay. And it was like, what is wrong with this painting? This is whatever. And I'd never met my grandmother, so I said, oh, the lady that owns the painting, she moves it because she's upset.
Mm.
That there completely freaked him out, and I was like, okay, um,
Mm.
well, it's a bit weird, but because of the reaction, it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be accepted. I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be criticized as crazy and all of that. So I pushed it aside. And it's like, okay, I need to experience the now in the world so that I can come back to knowing my truth. And I get
Mm.
information. I shared it on Facebook earlier about remembrance. I had a lecturer that, oh, he used to drive me crazy. It was a philosophy class, and this is during my education degree. Absolutely hated him. He was like, oh, I'm a Buddhist and I put the Dalai Lama up on a pedestal and all of this. And it's like, but you're claiming to be spiritual, and yet you're not seeing yourself in the same, I guess, level of connectedness in that sense. And he would often say, oh, your thoughts aren't your own, they're already in the cosmos, and that means that nothing is original thought. And it's like, but it's coming to me first. And it's like, if it's coming to me now, then it's mine. I haven't read these philosophies. I definitely didn't grow up in an environment that was conducive of that sort of education. So it was like, but I've never heard it before, so it has to be my original thought. Now, a little bit further on into my um, my training and I guess studies, I've learnt that yes, he was true in a sense. We have to remember certain things in order for us to believe it. It's like if you go through religion and the insights of why people follow, they
Mm.
follow because they haven't had that themselves. And for me, I was always conflicted by that. It was like, but I've had these thoughts before I knew that. And even some of the codes and the things that I've drawn in my journal, I was like, I don't know what this means, but I'm putting it down because for whatever reason, it's important. It's stuck in my head and it just makes sense to me. And
Mm.
then within a few days, I'm seeing videos and podcasts and I'm seeing other people reflecting the same information. It's like, okay, now I get how the interchange is there because it was thought, because it was brought into awareness now, it exists. And because it exists, it comes into the human consciousness. And we have to know this and trust it in order to come back to who we are as the oneness being. And
Mm.
if we talk about God's creator energy, it's one energy. And if you talk about it as energy, as an actual being, as a frequency, that exists in all of us. Like we would not be alive without the energy of the universe. We would not have the container of Earth to support life. We wouldn't feel connection at all. And it's in that beauty of knowing, okay, well, we feel connected because we are.
Mm.
We each are a human being. We're connected with the things that we create. We're connected with the animals that are, out there that do send us the messages, that do allow us to remember certain things about ourselves that just give us that confidence that we were talking about earlier. So, when we dress for ourselves, when we know, when we trust what we're saying, you can't deny that. And we can go into that temptation, that devil card. We can go into the conflict of the mind and, feel separate from other people because it's not accepted.
Mm.
But everything that we talk about today, it's not here to convince you of anything because everyone's journey is different. Everyone has a different pathway and a need to remember certain things. Like I know that my codes don't always make sense to Marie. And it's like, that sounds really cool. And I kind of understand, but yeah, it's not in my field. Whereas the deep womb work and what it is to be connected to the feminine energy and the body of creation, that there is your expertise. And I'm like, it doesn't sit right with me. I get it. I like it. I understand it. And I've learnt it for what I need to. But
Mm.
ultimately, it's the different pathways that we need to experience. You've remembered Mary Magdalene in a different sense of that ownership of, I actually remember living that life. And I've seen it more of I know that I have the ability to, um, what's the word, to draw from that life. So I know the wisdom that's there that is available to me because of the consciousness of humanity and that God source energy. I don't like the
Yeah.
words. I'm very clear on that. Like the minute we say God, I'm like, oh, that's religion. No, it's not. I'm talking about the universal energy that makes life as it is. Like this is spirituality in the true sense. It's not about separation or clubs and groups. I hate that. Like take your groups and your segregation and put them in the bin, because for me that's not where we are. When we truly connect with another, we're accepting where they're at, what they may or may not remember, what they need to remember may not be the same as what you and I do. And that's okay, because being in this position of remembering all means that you can adjust and you can discern what is needed for those around you. And that there is the true spiritual people. It's like not, oh, I saw this and I saw that, because there's other modes and there's other interpretation. There's always a bias included. So what I say, I have to reflect on with my experience. And I do that. I know that there are people that have experienced similar, and perhaps they are stuck in this conflict and trauma, and they just need someone who's going to support them and be there in a way that allows them to go through that journey, because the journey is hard. Like to go into an awakening or enlightenment, whatever you want to call the term, it's up to you. But to be in that position is difficult. It's not light and love like everybody spouts. It gets there. You have moments of it, but most of it's dark and dirty. And pretty much all of these cards that are here today,
That's stuck in the
it's
mud,
hard
right?
to.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We spoke of that
Yeah.
earlier. But it's really when we are stuck in that separation or going through the trauma of why is this happening to me, and if there is a God, then why would they let this stuff happen? It's like, well, if you truly believe that God has control over you, that it's a source outside of yourself, then these things will continue to happen to you until you recognize that you choose it. And it was a very hard lesson for me to recognize that I used my own abuse, that I set out to have parents that couldn't be supportive of me, that couldn't be nourishing in this particular lifetime. And I can see why I did it. I can see now, like through all of the hardship, if I hadn't have experienced all of the things that I had, if I haven't had gone through neglect, sexual trauma, emotional trauma, the manipulative relationships and things that I've been in, I wouldn't know what I know now. And I know deep down inside that each one of us is exactly the same, and we're all stuck in this pain of being separate, of being not recognized for who we are, of some of us not even knowing what our heart is. Like, what is it that truly drives you, and what is it that you're actually seeking in this life? And for some of us, it's just companionship. It might be family. It could just be the 9 to 5 job where I just feel productive and I just get to experience life. Or it could be something more, which is universal and profoundly different to anything that anyone's ever heard. And if we go back to Einstein theory, he was considered a kook. He was crazy. There was some of the theories that were there and others that were like, people like, no, that's too far-fetched and you've really done it now. But the more we look into it and the more time has passed, the more we can see the validity in what he was actually talking about, the more we can actually see he had to demonstrate that then in that time where it wasn't accepted, so that we in the future can see the connections and to grow from that, to go, okay, if this quantum theory is true, he didn't get all of it, then what are we doing with it now? And you just have to look at Tesla and, half of the AI mechanics and all of the creation that is there to know the truth behind it.
Yeah. It's powerful to really let that land. And you mentioned like those seeds as well. It made me think about the Australian landscape and seeds that will only sprout when there's a bushfire. They wait for seasons to pass and that seed waiting for the turmoil, what feels like stuck in the mud, that feels like chaos, that feels like death and destruction. But it's through that process of alchemy, through the fire and the land and the soil, that when that happens in some conditions, then those seeds then burst because they've waited for that piece to be forged for the right conditions. And so, as Flea was saying with Albert Einstein, with your own life, all of these pieces around our shadows, our limiting beliefs, the parts that trigger us, all the shame, the blame, the stories that we were talking about, and the stories behind the stories, all the deep lineage pieces that may feel like curses or heaviness, we get to reframe and choose through our own free will the moments of transformation and change. Like, again, that piece around the fire, and I think about the raw metals of iron, because the other industry I'm in is in the steel, moving into the steel making industry and supporting that narrative. But iron from the earth, when forged in the hot, molten heat, and then cooled, and then tempered and hammered and forged in this process, creates something new, creates metal, creates steel, creates this strong, solid foundation. And if our souls are like that element, and if you think about our hearts, our blood, it's got iron in it. These elemental pieces, these foundational core pieces, that is forged through greatness and grit, determination, resilience, actually like hammering in to create the beauty. I think of a sword. I think of like these Japanese swords, and the beauty of it does become a weapon if you choose it, but also this beautiful craft. And like us, our souls are beautifully crafted, and we can choose to be a weapon of good or evil. And it's up to us to choose how we craft this vessel, this tool. Like I think about steel, I think about the sword being a tool to be used. How do we use our voice? How do we use our body? How do we use these unique codes, as Flea was saying, to be this beautifully mastered, crafted tool of this earth and the universe? And how do we utilize that to the best of its ability to create and forge our own lives in this beautiful piece? Is like, this is why the mud and the muck and all the heavy hard things are there, and we chose it so that in the right time, like that seed sprouting, the right time, the beauty and the craftsmanship of who your soul is at the core, your God source energy within you, gets to just shine so brightly and forge its way to connect and influence and share its beauty and share all of the magic that is contained within it with those that get to be around you.
See, I would take that even simpler. It's fantastic to be able to create outside of ourselves, but what is iron in our system? It is our strength. If you're lacking in iron in the body, then you're lacking in physical strength. And every single mineral in Earth, like we have 97 trace minerals, which are the foundations of Earth itself. Those 97 minerals within our body, they each have a function. And if we're deficient in one, it starts a catalytic event of unfolding. And if we think of steel not forged correctly on the outside, like this is where the structures get to be the reflection, because steel not forged correctly means that the foundation is weak, and it means that the
Yes.
foundation will ultimately crumble.
Yes.
Like us, like our bodies, and all we have to do is look to nature to actually see, well, what is that used for outside of what we create? What is the natural purpose of iron being in the earth to begin with? It's a foundation, it's the core, it's the strength that keeps everything structured. And here we are, we mine a lot of it, and this is where the pillaging of Earth, can be destructive, because if we take too much, we then weaken the foundation of our actual container. Do we need to go to Mars to live on Mars because Earth is crumbling? No, we need to actually stop and listen, as we do our own bodies, to what it means for us. Like, if the Earth is going to crumble because we're taking too much and we're using it for the wrong foundations rather than working with it, like our body, it's going to start to deteriorate. We're going to get sick. We're going to start to have autoimmune diseases, inflammation in the body, digestive problems. And this is something I speak into a fair bit. It's like, well, what does it mean for me? This is all great when we talk about it in the grand scheme of things. But for me to be able to come back to myself and my physicality and my health, that is where this knowledge comes in handy. This is where medicine actually formulated. Hello, Aya.
Mm.
So, like when we look at these degrees, are we really looking at them in their holistic self? And I spoke yesterday, I've got twin stepsons that are both learning the same thing in different areas. So one's at TAFE doing boilermaking, the other one's doing engineering and robotics. Ultimately, they're the same core course, but they're only getting taught parts of it. And my knowledge as a fashion designer, it's like, well, I know how to draw it, to create the pattern, to create the template, to then put it together, to use the right fabrics, and then to decorate and refine. Now, if I was missing one of those foundations, I then become limited, which is really annoying, because I've seen like the lovely fashion shows and everything where they go in to compete, and there was one where there was a gentleman that didn't know how to sew. And it's like, you're in a competition to show your designs. If you don't know the basic foundations of how to put it together, it crumbles. It's not good. It gets judged as, the weak steel, and ultimately the building collapses. We see this around the world where they're tampering with minerals, trying to make it, extended by weakening the actual core element. And those buildings, they're not structurally sound. Everything comes back to how and what we use these abilities for. So if you're in medicine, you should know every level, because it's part of your DNA to actually go deeper into the human biology. So the brain connected to the emotions, connected to the body, the physicality, all of that there is primary in being a good doctor. And yet today we see a general GP that can identify viruses and, the general human disadvantages. And then you have to go to a specialist for skin, and a specialist for doctors and neurology, and a specialist for this. And I understand that our information can become too much. There's too much to learn there. But if you don't know the core, if you just go straight into your specialty area, like the engineering degree, can you actually then go and work in the industry to fix the problems as they arise? Can you go through the process of really understanding what it means to build it, like, the physicality that's needed, the time, the actual money to value that particular degree? And vice versa, if you're just building it and you don't know why the engineer is making things structurally sound, why they're actually coming in and utilizing their skills, then you're never going to progress your skill set, because you're just at the bottom level. You're only at the base understanding. You're the general GP that has to pass you on to something else. That's not mastery. Mastery is when we love what we do so much, we will use any method possible to dive deeper into that. You will look at all levels. So the maths, the science, the medical, the biological, even the spiritual. Like, if I didn't understand those elements, then my knowledge would be weak. And if it's weak, that foundation's ultimately going to crumble, and we're not going to know where to move from there, how to progress. You're not going to develop any further. And anything to do with the brain is that when we start to tap into our knowledge, into our heart, those neurological connections actually go haywire. They go chaotic, to the point where, your brain just expands with information. Whereas the more we kind of sit in the same, we're stuck in the mud, like we spoke about, and we don't continue to learn, they actually degrade. they start to drop off. And this is where the Alzheimer's and all of those type of neurological diseases start stepping in. And sometimes you're not even able to remember the basics. But if you keep working, you keep growing, you keep learning, it's perfect. And yes, definitely Einstein, Seeds of Change. I love Einstein.
I love this thread and this beautiful role modeling of like the depth of knowledge. Not only you're experiencing your life, but like, also being teachers, we tap into these fields, our own experience, friends, what we've researched as well. And again, take what lands for you. And if anything has resonated where you're like, yes, I feel that disconnect, I feel that yearning to learn more and to go deeper, then come and connect with us. This is the last time we're going live, and this is the last time we're going to share this amazing offer. We'll probably share it on our Facebook and our emails. But if you're not in our tribe, connect with our beautiful website, www.awæcnianacademy.com. The spelling is down here. And join our tribe. We have so many amazing free offers on our website and these foundations to step into that next level of mastery. And why we have chosen to share over the last 10 days our stories of how we've transformed is because of what we've gone through the mud, forging into our greatness, really allowing that wisdom to come through and the intuition. So come and join us and type co-create. You get through this beautiful 3-month course for $300. It's $100 a month. And if you break it down, I think it's like $25 a week. My goodness. And you're getting 2 of us. You're getting this beautiful course. You can go at your self-paced. And we'll also be connecting with you to keep you accountable, because when people connect with us, we want to ensure that, you are being kept accountable and connected to other people that are in this field of change and growth and transformation as well. Because these are the foundational skills that allow you to then start to create real, tangible shifts around you. Not only in your own body, your health, your well-being, from the mineral levels, as Flea was saying, to the relationships, the quality of people around you, to your work, to your business, to your career, to your future pathways. Like, we love what we do. We love it. And that's why we're sharing this. And I trust that the universe is going to allow that receivership to come through, because if it comes through me, comes through Flea, it's going to come through you. And as Flea said earlier in the week, celebrating each other's wins is celebrating parts of ourselves that get to win. And it's a winning combination. And I encourage you to go check it out and DM us if you want to find out some more information.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on to that, because everything that you said is profound, but really it is about the connection, and it is about like finding people that can support you through the hard things and understand that some of it is a little bit weird and wacky.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, we've lived this. So whatever our foundation is, it's only there to grow upon, not to be the be all and end all. Like, we're not saying that we have all of the right answers. This is just what we have experienced. And this has been a 3-year journey of getting to know ourselves, working in a business, in a partnership where we have different personality styles, we have different organization methods. Like, it's not about finding your spiritual self. Maybe you just want to be more connected to your staff and your business, because this is really where our foundations grow. Like, any business that is seeing every single person in their structure as profound is going to be elevated in growth. Because I know that as an employee, if I'm valued in my workplace, I'm going to give far beyond. I'm going to definitely, do more than is actually expected of me, because one, I feel loved, I feel connected, and I feel like I belong. And there's nothing better than working towards something where you feel that, where you can be celebrated in what you do, and where you can say, actually, I'm really good at this and I want to give that a go. Even though I haven't done the training or I haven't gone to uni or whatever, I really think that I'm good at this and this is what I've learned. They're the type of people I want working with us. And I say with us, what for us, because we definitely do not follow the stereotypical models of the hierarchy of business. So this is where this leads. Once we master ourselves, then we master the world, and that's the one I want to live in. So that's why I share what I do in the different methods and the different ways. So spiritual people, mathematical, science, whatever you're into, you know, come and chat with us so that we can. That's it.
Yes. Multifaceted. We're multifaceted, and so are you. So come have a chat and we'll connect with you soon. Bye, guys. We'll see you on the other side.